RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com for plenty more Royal Caribbean news, information, fun, advice. Happy Monday. I'm coming to you live from beautiful South Florida. We're here for a couple days before our Liberty of the Seas cruise coming up in just a couple days. So different venue here, but we're actually doing a couple days down here before the cruise, doing some meetings with the RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com staff. And anyway, we're here to talk Royal Caribbean with all of you. And of course, we're here to answer your Royal Caribbean cruise questions, including how many days until your next Royal Caribbean cruise? Check your countdown in chat. Let's count down together. I have 4 more days until Liberty of the Seas. It's a quick 3-night cruise. I've never been on Liberty before, but finally getting on her out of South Florida. Just a quick, 3-night weekend cruise to the Bahamas. Not a bad way to spend the weekend in Coco Key, and it's gonna be great. Looking forward to it. And already I see a lot of people in the chat also looking forward to their countdowns as well. Lots of great countdowns there. Love it. Of course, we're here to answer your cruise questions. So what Royal Caribbean cruise questions can we answer? Feel free to type your questions in the chat, and we'll answer as many as we can today. Elizabeth's first cruise is in May. Nice. Love that. Fantastic. Good evening to everybody. Glad to have you all here. Lots of countdowns, and Sandra is on board. Where's Sandra? Oh man, the chat went. Oh, there. Sandra is on board the Radiance of the Seas. Lovely. Welcome. Good to see you here. Becky Menken from MEI Travel is conflicted on what counts for my countdown. It's hard to keep track of all those mega suites that you book for yourself, Becky. I understand. It must be really difficult, but good to see you here. Welcome. We also had a super chat before the broadcast began. Jeremy 777, who now YouTube was like, you don't really want to see that. Anyway, Jeremy said, hey, Matt, do you happen to know if Royal Caribbean goes from LA to Seattle to Alaska? I get that part. It doesn't go through San Francisco, though. No, the only cruises Royal Caribbean offers from Los Angeles go to the Mexican Riviera. So they go south. Royal Caribbean does not offer any cruises to Alaska that don't leave from either Seattle or Vancouver. Oscar, thank you for the super chat as well. 55 days. So Wonder of the Seas. How many bottles of wine can each person bring on a carry-on on the ship? It's not per person. It's per stateroom. And it's 2 bottles per stateroom they are allowed to bring on there. So let's see. Melissa's first cruise is going to be on Wonder of the Seas in November. That's a great ship to start on. Love that. We have a super chat coming in from Red Wingski. Thank you for the epic super chat. Woo! Thank you. Apologies. Sailing on Oasis in 88 days. Is it correct that we can choose our embarkation arrival time with our Genie, even though we recite a different arrival time when we check in? Correct. Yes. So the check-in time in the app is completely irrelevant when you have a Royal Genie, because you're staying in Star Class, and they will coordinate time there. So the app check-in time is utterly meaningless if you're staying in Star Class rooms. So good question there. Next question is from Cousins YouTube. Why, oh why, isn't there a water slide on Odyssey of the Seas? I think it's just a design choice for that particular class of ship, the Quantum class. They've just never had them. Why? I think they just decided to put other venues like North Star or Ripcord by iFly or some other venues there that would take up that space. And essentially, they either chose to do them, or they don't have room for them, something along those lines. But essentially, it's a design choice. Essentially, let's see. Travel the Caribbean 2009. Hello from Symphony of the Seas. Love it. James wants to know, does Royal Caribbean offer late night food service? They do. I mean, Pizza Sorrento's or Cafe Promenade or both is open usually late night, something like that. Room service is available as well through the late night as well. Beyond that, that's pretty much the extent of the late night service. There isn't. Most of the restaurants close up around 9 or 9:30 or so. And you might get the exception would be like Playmakers. Depends on the ship you're on, basically. Is you might have some other options that are there, but not a lot of super past 10 o'clock. It's really usually just pizza, Cafe Promenade, and room service, of course. The Ochos want to know, first cruiser here, welcome. Going on Harmony March 4th. Question, is it worth it to bring a stroller for my 2-year-old and 4-year-old? I know, big ship, thoughts. Boy, if my wife was here, we'd have a whole argument about this, because we argued about this every single time. I would say No, you shouldn't bring a stroller. It takes up too much space. It's a hassle to bring around. It creates more problems than it solves when you might actually need one. My wife would say, you're not holding the baby nearly as much as I am. The stroller is totally worth it. I would probably, the compromise is bring an umbrella stroller, like one of those cheapo ones that you get like at Walmart that you're going to use for one trip and throw away at the end of the cruise. Like, don't bring your super awesome, like deluxe mega baby stroller thingy that, like, is the bee's knees. Because space is so limited, it's much easier to have an umbrella stroller that you can just bring there, store easily in your room, and then throw away later. That was kind of the compromise I think we ended up with as a family. But I always fought bringing the stroller because just getting it to and from the ship and using it on the ship is just a pain in the butt. So let's see here. JV's having fun says your videos helped a lot. Just got off one this morning. First time cruiser. Thanks a lot. That's awesome. So glad to hear that. That is wonderful news right there. Lori Clark wants to know any updates on Royal Caribbean's plans for Nassau. We posted an update, Lori, on last week on RoyalCaribbeanblog.com. I'm not sure if it's all on the homepage, but we posted it. It's either on the homepage or page 2. We did post an update about that, Lori. Nothing was really updated. Like, Royal Caribbean didn't announce anything new. We just stumbled across some new plans and some concept art for what they envision over there. Could that change? Sure. My wishing flower wants to know, is Giovanni's any good? Yes. Would you recommend Samba Grill? Yes. I actually tried it out on Allure of the Seas and really liked it a lot. I thought it was very, very good there. So we have some super chats coming in. I want to say thank you to our super chatter, starting with, of course, one of our good friends, Susan Westfall. Susan, thank you for the super chat. Do you need to fill out the FMM entry form when entering Mexico via cruise ship? No. You don't. I mean, no. The answer is no. I don't want to make a generalization about other places, but you don't need that for going in there. Cozumel, no. The only reason you might need one would be if you flew to Mexico there. So, Jen Green from MEI Travel, welcome. Heidi was where we're streaming from. So we're actually in an Airbnb that we're staying in before our cruise. So actually, I've got the RoyalCaribbeanblog.com staff here. We're doing a little staff retreat, and then we're going to Liberty of the Seas on Friday. So it's a workcation, I think is the proper term there. Brittany wants to know, what time does the kids and tots have for drop off? Well, it depends on the time, Brittany. Like on a sea day, we'll use sea day as an example. I'm not sure if you mean like the nursery or Adventure Ocean or both, because they have different hours. The nursery runs throughout the day. They don't have as many breaks in the daytime as Adventure Ocean does. Of course, the nursery costs money. But of course, the nursery also closes up at midnight, whereas Adventure Ocean can stay open as late as 2 a.m. So it depends on the ship, is what you're really asking. Kenneth Gutierrez, thank you, Kenneth, for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, Kenneth, but I will keep an eye out for it. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Allie. Message sent in from downstairs. So we'll just move past that one. I'd rather answer Bonia's question over here. What's the difference between the ship student class and 2 separate classes? What makes a different class? Essentially, the differences within the classes are more like the structure and overall layout of the ship. It's kind of like car models. I think that's the best comparison I can make. Like if you talk about car models, what's the difference between a Ford Mustang and a Ford, not a Mustang, something else? They don't make Tauruses anymore, but Ford Escape, right? Ford Escape. So Ford Escape, Ford Mustang, right? You can instantly, if you know those 2 cars, you can say, well, okay, well, the Mustang is a sports car. The Escape is an SUV. It's got this much capacity in one car, this much capacity in the other. The engine's a little different. That's kind of like what cruise ships are like when you talk about different classes. It's just the general layout and the look and feel of some of the major features of the ship. Within the class, there could be differentiations. They're not all carbon copies of each other. Next question is from William Ryman. William, thank you for the super chat. 125 days till Wonder of the Seas. What excursion is can't miss to St. Thomas, St. Martin? Ooh. St. Thomas, I always tell people Magens Bay. It's a great option there. St. Martin, I would probably say just pick another beach. There's a lot of great choices, whether it is Orient Beach on the French side, or some of the beautiful beaches on the Dutch side. I mean, you really can't go wrong with almost any of them. I remember, William, I was in St. Thomas once, and I was talking to the taxi driver, and he's like, let me be honest with you, all our beaches are beautiful here. There's lots of great choices. So certainly Magens Bay and in St. Thomas, if you've never been there, you got to go there at least once. And then in St. Martin, maybe Orient Beach or Grand Case Beach on the French side are really, really nice. Next question is from, let's see here. JJ wants to know, are there any plans to put playmakers on ratings class ships? Nope, nothing's been announced, and I don't think that'll ever happen, quite frankly. GC just booked Odyssey of the Seas. Are there any tricks to getting a discount on the drink package? Just book it as early as you can. The key is to book the drink package as early as you can, because there will be sales throughout. I don't know how far away your cruise is, but there will be dips and peaks of the cruise pricing for the drink package, and my advice is you buy it now, lock in the price. If there's a lower price tomorrow, next week, next month, you can always cancel and rebook with no penalty there. Jeremy 777, Jeremy, thank you for the super chat. Are there any new restaurants coming soon on board? Basically only on Icon of the Seas, Jeremy. So besides Icon, there's really nothing else that's new coming to existing ships in the fleet. So really you're looking at Icon of the Seas. And we only know some of the dining venues, not all of them yet. So we'll have to get more information about that when that gets announced later on, some point between, I'm assuming sometime later this year, quite frankly. So let's see here. Lovely Dell, can you please tell me if they still require a vaccination board on Royal Caribbean? Outside of Australia, the answer is no. So if you're going on a cruise out of North America right now, the answer is absolutely not. Don't need one at all. It's all in the honor system. Gale Force wants to know, when will Icon be handed over to Royal Caribbean? So actually, the ship, if you're talking about the actual handover, delivery of the ship from the shipyard to the cruise line, that's going to happen sometime later this year in the fall. But when they get the ship, doesn't mean the ship is ready. It just means that Royal Caribbean takes ownership of it, but there's still more work to be done. And of course, the first sailing is not until January. So next question is from Jim Ryan. Did you watch the Icon flood out today? So the video, we did post the video, Jim, if you saw that. I'll be honest with you, that happened last month. It happened in early December. But Royal Caribbean posted the new video, shared it. They wanted us to share it with all of you guys, so we did that. So it's just more of an inside look at it, but it actually happened back in the first week of December. So when it did happen, I did see it. That's pretty cool. Next question is from Anthony, first-time cruiser. Lots of first-timers here. Love that. Would you recommend the 2-hour ship tour? It sounds interesting. The key word right there, key phrase, is your last sentence right there. It sounds interesting. If you think seeing the ship's bridge and the engine room and other places is interesting, then yes, you should try it out. But if that sounds boring to you, then it will be boring to you. It's just really geared towards folks who would think they might find that kind of stuff interesting. And so the answer is yeah, absolutely. Mick Q, thank you for the super chat. Have you heard of any updates when the Utopia will debut and open for booking? Nope and nope. All quiet on the Western Front. I got no updates on that, Mick Q. With Royal Caribbean, with new ships in general, there's nothing to report until there's something to report. They just kind of take their time with that kind of thing right there. So Smoke Bandit, Royal Caribbean blog staff retreat. Yeah, it's like I said, it's like a workation. It's a kind of opportunity to kind of celebrate. The writers here work really, really hard at what they do. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun if we, first of all, some of them I've never actually met in person before. So now that's checked off the box. But then we can also, go on a cruise and kind of, collaborate and get together. I think a lot of companies do this. Some companies do this kind of thing. So yeah, they're all watching The Bachelor right now and swooning over who's going to get the rose. And yeah, I don't know about that, but it's not my thing. I'm hanging out with you guys instead. Richard, thank you for the super chat, buddy. 62 days till Oasis. I have my time dining, but only see 7:30 in the Royal Caribbean app. Anyway, I can an earlier time or a variety of times over different days. So my time dining doesn't start until about 6 something. I forget exactly the time there. And the times available may be limited within the app in terms of what's available. People have already booked up there. So the key is, Richard, keep checking back. Certainly, once you get on board the ship, let's say in the app you keep checking, never see anything else, you could try asking for an earlier time once you get on board the ship. But it's mostly just a subject to availability, quite frankly. So, Brenlin wants to know what's my favorite ship in the Oasis class? Wonder of the Seas. I love that one. T. Higgs says, wouldn't it be easier to paint the icon while it's out of the water? And let's think about that. You know, I got to think this. Maybe you're, I don't know. I'm just going to say this. It's not their first rodeo. This is not the first time they painted a cruise ship, built a cruise ship. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that there's a methodology to it, and there are reasons why it is why it is, quite frankly. So, are the milkshakes of Johnny Rockets any good? Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. I don't know if they're the best milkshakes you've ever had in your life, but at the end of the day, a milkshake is still pretty darn good. Ann Smith wants to know, do I need a passport and birth certificate? So need is the key word. If you're an American and you are cruising out of the United States on a cruise that begins and ends in the same port, so your cruise begins in Miami, ends in Miami. Cruise begins in Cape Liberty, New Jersey, ends in Cape Liberty. You're a U.S. citizen, you can cruise without a passport, just a birth certificate and state-issued ID. If you have a passport and you don't need a birth certificate, I kind of one or the other sort of thing. The Teresa McShane, thank you for the super chat. I got nothing except hello. I got a question for you, Teresa. Let's flip it around here, okay? Instead of you asking me a question, I'm going to ask you a question. Did you book the Navigator of the Seas group cruise? Tony and Josh, I asked her the question. Okay, there you go. Did my part today. Next question is from Shonda, who wants to know, do you plan on making a cruise ship tour for Symphony of the Seas? The woman, the brain behind this answer is down there, and the answer is yes. We'll be filming it next month in February, and we'll have the tour out for you on Symphony of the Seas. No pressure, Jenna, but she's going to take care of it right there. Susan is going, let's see here. We chose Cocoa Beach Club for our cruise in March of Freedom. If the weather is bad and is canceled, we'll be refunded. If your ship is unable to dock, yes. But if it's raining or it's cloudy or whatever, and you look out the window and you're like, yeah, I don't want to go anymore, that doesn't count. No, that will not be the case. But if the ship is unable to dock physically, like, the captain comes on the PA and is like, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, we can't make this port, then yes, of course, you'll absolutely be refunded the money right there. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Loretta is here. Hello, Loretta. Good to see you. Bill Eggery is here. Welcome. Marcus wants to know, what is bigger, Allure or Harmony? It is Harmony by a few meters, like very, very few meters. Checking in from on board the Odyssey of the Seas. Love that. Odyssey is a great ship. I really, really like that quite a bit. Yvonne wants to know, how do the cabanas work on the ships? I've reserved one that I share with a stranger if it's not just my husband and I on the cabana. No. I think you mean the casitas, like those, like on something like ships like Odyssey and Oasis. They have these they're like cabanas, but they call them casitas, whatever, that are on the pool deck. Those are for you only. You're not sharing them with strangers. When you book one, it's yours for the day. You check in, it's reserved for you. It has your name on there just for you and your guests that are there. You can come and go as you please throughout the day. So if you go there at 9 a.m. and you hang out for a couple hours, but then you want to go to lunch, come back later, no problem at all. It's yours. Lisa wants to know, when does Wonder of the Seas have laser tag? Yes, White Night and 80s nights. 80s nights, yeah, I'm not sure about White Night Party. I think that kind of depends a little bit, but yeah. Next question is from Dominique, wants to know, is the excursion in Universal Studios worth it? You get enough time to actually enjoy it. If your cruise, Dominique, is stopping in Port Canaveral, it's not worth it. You don't have enough time. That's the problem. My advice, if you want to do Universal Studios, do it either before or after a cruise. The problem is the logistics involved from you getting to Orlando from Port Canaveral and then back again for when your ship leaves. There's not enough time. You'll get there too late. It's a terrible value. I would not recommend it at all. I think it's a mistake, quite frankly. Next question is from, we got some super chats coming in here, guys. Let's say some thank yous to our super chatter, starting with Julie Hall. First Canada New England cruise on Liberty coming up in September. Will people be out in the pools and water slides like they would for Caribbean trips I have done before? There will be some people. I mean, obviously, depending on when you're going, you don't think September. I mean, September can be warm, can be cool. There will be some people in the pools. We call those people Canadians, but they will be in the pools. But there will be some people. Will it look like Miami? No, of course not. But the hot tubs, especially, you get some traffic in there. So yeah, good question. Next question is from Hal Warren. Hal, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, Hal, but I will hopefully keep an eye. If I miss your super chat, Hal, just have like super chat in capital letters or something like that. I can get to it. Scary, thank you for the super chat. 20 Days Till Anthem. I know you don't love the key, but could an exception be made for a Quantum Clash if you get exclusive time on Ripcord and North Star? The problem with the exclusive time, and ultimately we would have to look at the schedule. You don't get a ton of time. You get select times, and in my experience, the times are always at terrible, like inconvenient times, like right before dinner time or during port days or something like that. Listen. At the end of the day, you know how I always tell people, a cruise is what you make of it. The key is what you make of it too. Certainly, if you stop what you're doing and you take advantage of those reserved times for the key, because certain signature activities are included, yeah, there's an argument to be made there. But I think a lot of people, again, we'd have to look at the schedule. So I'm making a generalization here, but I've often found the times for the activities that are reserved for only key guests tend to be at not optimal times. Not the times you actually want to go there, but you never know. Caitlin wants to know, how is Independence of the Seas? Great ship. Wonderful ship. You will love it. Samuel Jackson wants to know, what's the earliest you can dine at My Time Dining? It is, I thought it's like 6, I want to say 6:30. It's in the 6 o'clock hour, but it's not 6 o'clock. Is usually the earliest time for My Time. Next question is from, hey, Hunt is here. Hello, Hunt. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome. Christine wants to know, do you need a passport to get off the different ports? No. With very few exceptions, you don't need your passport in terms of like, there's no immigration process, customs you have to go through when you're like there for the day in a particular port. I remember the only one I've ever done that one was at Cuba, but obviously you can't go to Cuba anymore. I think maybe some other places like Israel and Russia might be ones, but they're very few and far between. Most ports, especially in the Caribbean, you don't need your passport in terms of to physically walk off the ship, but I still bring my passport with me just in case, obviously, something were to go wrong, we'd be left behind kind of situation. Bo's Family Adventure just booked your, just paid for your May cruise. First one is 2019. That is awesome. Love that. Nicole, thank you for this super chat. Appreciate it. My elderly in-laws are joining us on Ovation this fall. Any recommendations for helping them to navigate or book events on the ship? Printed itineraries. I mean, obviously you can help them with the check-in process because you can do that, while before they get on board the ship. I don't think they need that much help or assistance. I mean, yeah, I understand what you're thinking. Oh man, there's so much emphasis on the Royal Caribbean app. They can always go to guest services and get support there. There's the Voom desk. They can help them there. So they shouldn't feel like they have to do it all themselves. If they're confused and they say, oh, I'm not sure how you do X, Y, or Z, tell them, just go to guest services. They're happy to help you with any of those concerns right there. So that would be my recommendation, quite frankly, when it comes to helping your folks out with that. Next question is from Debbie, who wants to know, we're going to plan a cruise in the Caribbean in November. I'll have my mobility scooter. How is it to get off the ship for excursions? Usually pretty easy. I mean, the issue, Debbie, isn't getting off. It's the ship. It's where you're going to go, because Royal Caribbean is wonderful for accessibility, from what I've heard, because obviously I don't have that need, but I've heard wonderful things from different folks who have those kind of mobility needs. However, when you're off the ship and you're in, a different country, that's a whole different ballgame right there. So in a lot of cases, Debbie, depending on how mobile you are and what your needs are, like some people who have mobility, are in a wheelchair, but can transfer out or can walk for a little bit, that's gonna be a lot easier than somebody who cannot get out of their wheelchair at all, right? And the Royal Caribbean does offer some mobility assistance excursions. You'll find them in the cruise planner, and they're usually, bus tours or something like that, but that is an option for you to look at as well. So consider that possibility. I would look in that direction if that's the case. But if you're able to go out and about on your own, or at least you have a little bit of flexibility in terms of I use a wheelchair, but I am able to walk on my own and do a little bit of walking, then I think you'll find it much more manageable and more options for you, quite frankly. Next question. Gina, you like the joke? One of our moderators, the Canadian joke, Chantel is down there. She's one of our writers. She's right down there. And she was down there. I don't know where she went now. But anyway, I made the joke for her benefit because I always like making the Canadian jokes because, hashtag typical American. Michelle Taylor wants to know, will Royal Caribbean continue to give out paper cruise compasses? Not really, no. I mean, they've really moved away from it. You can still get them on special request. Sometimes I've heard of people saying that they don't provide it, but in most cases, if you go to guest services and you say, listen, I really, 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 really want a paper cruise compass, they'll provide it for you. The issue that you'll run into is, of course, just, it's not being delivered nearly as, like, when they first started making this transition, I was still getting the paper compasses all the time. Now it's more hit or miss. So you can certainly make the request. And paper compasses still exist, but they're not nearly as prolific as they were before in terms of being able to get one as widespread. Next question. We got some more super chats coming in, guys. So I'm going to try to catch up with our super chatters today. Thank you guys so much for all your generosity. Really, really appreciate it. Josh, thank you for the super chat. We're moving to Florida soon. We only have one cruise on Royal Caribbean, but want to build our VIP level. What's the best way to build it without spending a ton of money? Boy, booking solo rooms, so staying by yourself, so you get double points, and just finding really cheap weekend deals. Book in advance. When it comes to weekend cruises, in a lot of cases, if you can look more than, don't look 3 months ahead, look 6, 9, 12 months ahead of time or even more, you can sometimes find some really good deals, as well as, of course, just last minute deals. But if you book a room by yourself, you'll get double Crown and Anchor points. Double points is one of the best ways, the fastest ways to move up the chain. So I would definitely recommend looking for those kind of cruises, and just being opportunistic when it comes to last minute deals and good prices, and then of course booking rooms by yourself. That would definitely help. Next question is from D, who wants to know, is Ovation of the Seas in dry dock for a 5-year update, or should be back sailing again? Ovation is in Australia. She's offering cruises right now, but all the cruise ships offer they always adhere to the 5-year maintenance schedule there. So no need to worry about the ship being, safer, seaworthy, or whatnot. Karina, it was great. Thank you for the super chat. It was great cruising with you on Wonder in December. Do you know if owning Royal Caribbean stock would provide a benefit on a celebrity cruise? Boy, that's a great question. I have no idea. You would think that would be the case, but I honestly have no clue. Maybe someone in our chat knows that if you have Royal Caribbean group stock, do the benefits apply to celebrity just like they do Royal Caribbean International? It's a great question. I'm not sure on that one. You stumped me. That's Hal Warren. Thank you again for the super chat. Hal, am I missing your messages here? Sometimes the messages get disconnected, and it's either like right around the message or I lose it. And it appears today is I lose it. Unless you're just being very generous, Hal, and then I appreciate you. Jonesy, thank you for the super chat, my friend. 103 days till Harmony of the Seas, not that I'm counting. Once you get into the double-digit dance, my friend, it starts to move a little faster. So, Adam wants to know, am I going on the President's Cruise in July? I am not. What events do they usually have? Usually, I mean, you can look at past President's Cruises. They'll have special events. But, one of the signature events is usually a Q&A with Michael Bailey, the president and CEO of Royal Caribbean International. But they'll do things like they'll have special musical acts and all sorts of giveaways and trinkets to give you. So they do a lot of little special things to say thank you for being there, certainly. Mike wants to know, is a cruise safe to go on? Absolutely. It's safer than most places on land, if you ask me. But yeah, absolutely. 100%, my friend. Yes. Next question is from Christine, who wants to know, first time cruising with family in 20 years. What are your top 3 ships you'd recommend? I'll just give you my favorite ships. They're all good. There's not one ship in the fleet I don't recommend. My favorites are Wonder, Harmony. Actually, it's your first time cruising in 20 years. Do either Harmony, Wonder, or Odyssey of the Seas. Brand new ships, best of the best. I think you'll find a good deal right there. So, Josh Taylor wants to know, if we have a genie on Harmony, do we still need to pre-book things pre-cruise, or do we wait till we get on board the ship? The only thing you need to pre-book would be excursions. Dining, drink packages, Wi-Fi, that's all included. You don't have to do that in advance. But shore excursions are still on your own, quite frankly. So, Train Master 365, thank you for the super chat. My wife and I are doing our first Royal Caribbean cruise in 97 days on Oasis. Can I charge Johnny Rockets to the room if I don't have the specialty dining? Absolutely, yes, 100%. You go to any specialty restaurant, and they might ask you, do you have a dining package? You'll say no, and they say, all right, they'll just charge you to the room. No problem at all. Che wants to know, why is admission to the Thrill Water Park so expensive? Because it's just the demand, my friend. They keep willing to pay it, and they keep raising the price, and people are like, yeah, I'll still pay it. And just the nature of their business, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately. Fortunately for them, fortunately for us that we still have a company cruise line we can go on, but of course, unfortunately, in the sense that you're not getting a super cheap deal right there. Next question is from Axe Gaming 22. How do you find a travel agent that are good and trustworthy? I'm young and new to travel and a solo traveler. Great question. The answer is personal recommendations, right? You want to hear from a family member, a friend, a colleague, or somebody that you trust who says, you know what, Axe Gaming 22, I just used Jen Green for MEI Travel, and she was fantastic. Took care of everything, like best travel agent I've ever encountered. And then you'd be like, well, that's a travel agent I want to use. And that's really, truly the way to go about it, quite frankly. Jonas wants to know, is a soda package, worth it for a 4-night cruise? If you can drink, I don't know, 4 or 5 sodas a day, every day of the cruise, the answer is yes. Just depends on you and if you can make it worth your while, quite frankly. Let's see here. Infinite Aviation wants to know, what's the best activities in restaurants on Odyssey? Playmakers, Izumi Teppanyaki. Absolutely love those places. The activities. Man, you've got, of course, everything in the Seaplex. I mean, that can keep you busy all the entire cruise. North Star, those are fantastic things to see there. And of course, amazing shows, in 270 are amazing. Tony Diaz, thank you for the super chat, my friend. What's the best way to get someone to go on one of your group cruises? I have a friend who will remain nameless, Teresa McChain, and I keep hearing 1,001 excuses. Obviously, Tony, first of all, I am so sorry for your pain and displeasure, my friend. It must really hurt you that your friend, who will not be named, Teresa, doesn't want to go on a cruise with you and me and Josh and all of our friends at Real Caribbean Blog. It is just a gosh darn shame. And I know, Tony, that it really keeps you up at night. And just, boy, I just want to say, can we get a moment of silence and chat for Tony Diaz? So the answer is obviously to continue to berate your friend until she gives in and just caves in. That's the only way to do it, I think. Thank you, Tony, for the super chat, buddy. Really appreciate you. Aaron wants to know, is a deluxe drink package a good deal on a 7-day cruise if you only have a light drinker and maybe 2 drinks per day max? No, that is a terrible idea. Don't get one. Just pay for your 2 drinks maxes a la carte. This may seem, I almost laugh, but I apologize because, if you're new to cruising, you don't have to get a drink package. You can just pay for drinks as you go. If you're not going to come anywhere near breaking even, definitely just pay for drinks on your own, 100%. Ryan wants to know, how many points do you get if you book a junior suite with one person? One person in the room, you'll get 3 points per night. Thank your staff, Rusty Higgs. I absolutely will. They're all down there watching The Bachelor. But when they emerge from whoever won the episode or whatever that thing is, I will tell them right there. Oh, Tom Hooley says, thank you, Tom. Yes, if you own Royal Caribbean stock, it's good for both Royal Caribbean and celebrities. Thank you, Tom, for answering that question. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. Melissa Pillsbury, thank you for the super chat. Doing a back-to-back cruise next month. First Margaritaville at sea, then Oasis. Which do you think will enjoy more? I'm just going to say I'm glad you're doing Margaritaville first and not Oasis, because that will be, you will come running back. Save me! Nick Wong, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you. My Wishing Forever wants to know, will Royal Caribbean ever be back its Amplified program? Yes, they've said on numerous occasions, executives have said on the record, they absolutely want to bring it back. You got to remember, right now they are swimming in billions with a B dollars of debt. They just can't afford literally to be spending money on not frivolous, but like discretionary spending like that instead of just trying to recoup some of that money. So once they're in a better situation financially, the answer is yes, absolutely. Patty wants to know, will we get a cowboy hat in May on Allure at the new cruise terminal? I don't think so. When they gave away those cowboy hats when I went on there, I think that was just like a inaugural or maiden sailing kind of thing. I don't think so, but who knows? I've not heard that, anything like that. Next question is from, boy, there's so many questions, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get to as many as I can. Alex is next. I'm going to get a drink of water here, Alex. Hold on a second. going on Anthem in March, but I've been wondering if I should do a few nights in the Windjammer for our dinner. I just don't want to offend the waiters. No, you're not offending them at all. Listen, if you're just in the mood, you're tired, you want something different, you just want to mix it up, no problem at all. I mean, they may joke with you. You're like, oh no, Mr. Alex, we love but they'll totally understand. They're not offended at all. I think the key is just let them know, hey, the day before we're going to be in the Windjammer the next night. No problem at all. Not an issue. Drew wants to know, have I been on the Navigator since the amplification? Do I like it? Yes. I think the amplification of Navigator is one of the best in the fleet. Avador wants to know, have I ever met Chris Wong in person? Yes, I've met Chris a couple different times. He is even better in person than he is on the YouTube videos. He's incredible. I sailed with him on Odyssey of the Seas most recently, and he is so nice, so genuine. Yeah, he's a great guy. Check out his YouTube videos. I'm sure like everybody on our channel already does, but make sure you check them out because they're really good. Next question is from Sean. Why is it so hard to book a true single solo cabin? Because there's not that many to begin with, and since there's so few inventory and enough people know about them, Sean, that they just go like that. So one of the first kind of categories to go when new itineraries go out there. So because people know about them, that's essentially the reason why. It's a good question. I know it's not the answer you were looking for, but it's just they just don't have that many rooms. Sean Salemko. Sean, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message. And if I miss any of your super chats, like Hal or Sean, I just type super chat in capital letters, and I will try to make sure that I. Kenneth. See, Kenneth just did that. Kenneth, I found it. I apologize for missing out on. Here's your question. I got my parents to go on their first cruise next year on Icon. The big concern is about my brother's handicap and wears diapers as an adult. Will he not be allowed in the pools? Ooh. Boy, the answer is I don't know, because I've never actually asked or broached this question. My sense of it is no, because he's wearing a diaper and they don't make a distinction between age. That's just the rules that they are. If you go to Coco Key or any place, that's okay. But on board the ship, they have more stringent rules for health reasons on board. So my expectation would be no. I've never asked this question before, so I apologize, Kent. I don't have a very good answer for this one, but I'm sorry also for just missing this question a couple times earlier, but glad we got it in here. Here's Sean's super chat message. It appears Explorer this is going to the dry dock and will be the first cruise after it's complete. I've heard of what updates will they be doing. Love the channel. Thank you, Sean. They made no updates, and I expect it's just gonna be a maintenance job, Sean. That they're just gonna primarily be focusing on maintenance. It's not gonna be like, if you remember pre-pandemic, maybe you don't, but pre-pandemic they had all these grandiose plans for the ship. I don't believe that is going to be the case. They've certainly not announced anything like that. So I think it's just going to be purely maintenance at this point. Gino wants to know, are the buffet choices or the meals on the menus marked as vegan or vegetarian? That'd be great. On the menus, like printed menus in a restaurant, like the main dining room, yes, it's marked that way. For the buffet, I forget if there's a little symbol. I want to say yes next to the little sign. You can always ask, because whenever you're in the buffet, there's a crew member standing, right around behind there to service it, and you could just, ask them that question right there. Next question is from Nathan. Wife and I leave on Friday on Navigator, first cruise 25 years. Last was her high school graduation present on Royal Caribbean. Same itinerary as then. Thanks for all your very information. That's awesome. Wonderful. Proverbs House says you should have your staff join you behind you when you log off. I think it's a great idea. I think most of them, though, are watching The Bachelor right now. So I don't know which ones we're going to be able to get. But they'll come on by and stand awkwardly behind me, and it'll be great. Doug, thank you for the super chat. Do you know when the rest of the 2024 schedule will be released? At some point this spring, historically speaking, Royal Caribbean almost always releases the new sailings in the spring, March, April timeline, but we don't have a deployment schedule yet. We're expecting it soon, whatever that means. So hopefully we'll have that for you soon. All right, they're all making their way now. So be careful what you all wish for, because they're all coming here, and we're going to ask them all the questions instead of me. We'll make Jenna do the work. I think that's a great idea. Well, they're all coming. All right.
We're coming.
We all voted, and we said we should make Jenna answer the rest of the questions.
Okay. Yeah. Yay. Oh my gosh.
So we got lots of friends over here, and sorry, there's watch out for the cord. And
I will not click the cord.
you got lots of friends. See, we got our whole staff over here. Oh, actually, it's not true. We're still missing a couple people. They're coming on Thursday before the cruise. So, different writers and videographers from both Cruise Blog and Royal Caribbean Blog. Well, they wanted you to come at the end of the thing.
Sorry.
We got 20 minutes left, so
20 minutes.
yeah, you got 20 minutes. So Jenna, come answer all the questions here.
Oh.
Let's see. Here's a question from Katie. How do I know what clothes to bring for the theme nights?
Always bring a white outfit. There's always a white night.
And then look at past cruise compasses.
Look at past cruise compasses. There's the look at past cruise. That way you have an idea of what to expect. That's probably one of the best things that you can do right there. Let's see here. Kylan, this is Jenna cannot answer this question. Is it easy to answer a cruise? Is it easy to enjoy a cruise of a mostly nocturnal? Yes, there's a lot of activities at night actually, and there's a lot of events and things that go on into the evening. So if you're sleeping in most of the day, I think you'll have no problem at all. Next question is from Grateful Dan's random show. Is it true that Wonder of the Seas is the largest ship on the seas? Today, yes. But when Icon of the Seas comes out, it will be larger. Oh, we have a question here. Actually, is Chantel around?
She's
She's moderating. Chantel, so Chantel's our resident Canadian. Would you be better to visit Halifax in late May or early September? I'll wait for her answer.
Late May or early September.
September is the answer. She says September, and she's Canadian, so you got to trust her. Rick 734, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Booked our first 8-night cruise on could be Adventure, Allure, Anthem, but that's awesome. You booked a cruise, 8-night holiday cruise. I'm gonna guess
Adventure's on 8 nights, isn't it?
Sure, let's go with Adventure. Awesome, you have a great time. Though that extra night when you go from 7 to 8 makes a huge difference. It feels like you've got such a longer vacation. Next question is from Hepa, who wants to know, first time cruiser here, can I waive the gratuity? And the answer is no. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't do it. Basically, the crew members work really hard, and even though it's listed as like, optional or discretionary, whatever the case may be, the reality is the system, for better or worse, is based on gratuities being paid because it's kind of like going to a restaurant, right? You go to a restaurant, you sit down, tipping is optional, but you tip the person, right? And it's just the way the system is. Now, if you don't agree with it, I'm with you. I actually prefer that Royal Caribbean integrates it into their cruise fare. But until that changes, I do believe you should pay the gratuity there. Now, if you want to waive the gratuity because you'd rather take that same amount or even more and tip them with cash, totally fine. You have to wait until you get on board the ship in order to do that. Next question. Boy, we got so many questions here. Hal, I keep missing your question, dude. Thank you for the super chat. But Hal, someone's got to like yell at me, where's Hal's message? But I cannot see it. Joe, thank you for the super chat as well. I'm looking as close as I can. Sharon Stockman, thank you for the super chat. Where are you broadcasting from? We're in beautiful South Florida. We're going to Liberty on Friday, and we are here. We got an Airbnb, and we're doing a staff retreat. So we're just kind of hanging out, and we're working. It's a workation, right?
It is.
Yeah.
By the pool.
By the pool. I mean, it's still work. Next question is, here's Hal. Hal says, hit a jackpot on Mariner last night. Thanks for your advice.
Yeah.
The YouTube thumbnail for this video should be, if you watch Royal Caribbean Blog, you will hit the thumbnail. You'll hit the jackpot in the casino every time.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't get sued immediately on that one. Let's see. Next question is from the Galaxy 01. What to bring with you on a 5 to 7 night sailing? All right, so let's go one by one. Pick one thing. Angie, what would you bring on a 5 to 7 night sailing on your cruise? Anything that you think is like, the obvious underwear, but like, what's like something that you would like pack that's like
sunscreen and aloe.
Sunscreen. Come on camera. They want to see you, not me.
Sunscreen and aloe. I burn so easily, so good to pack that.
All right, Allie.
I don't know. What would I pack?
Something that you don't.
Oh, you know what I've been liking to pack is a hamper. We've been doing that on a few of our longer cruises, like a collapsible one, fits right on the bottom of your luggage, and then you could probably dirty clothes in there in the closet.
Yeah.
Haley.
I like to use packing cubes in the dresser. Keeps everything organized.
I don't believe in those. Marcy?
Actually, I always say the ship is cashless, but I always find myself needing extra cash for gratuities and also the casino if you're a casino person, which I'm really not. But hey, that's what they put in the slot machines.
There you go. Haley?
So for a 5 to 7 night cruise, I always pack 2 swimsuits.
2
Because
swimsuits.
you will want to rotate them out when they are once wet and
That's
once
smart.
dry.
My wife always says you should bring 2. I'm like, it'll be fine. And then you do the.
Yeah.
Oh. Jenna?
Maybe like a.
Y'all afraid of the camera?
That's why I'm a video editor. Maybe like a bag to bring with you in ports, like not the bag you travel with.
Right, a little day bag kind of thing. Perfect. My wishing flower says, "Thank you all for your hard work to the Royal Caribbean crew." So,
Yay.
Scott, thank you for the super chat. What do you consider the hallmark of Wonder of the Seas? There's no North Star or indoor skydiving. Boardwalk, Central Park. I mean, when you're talking about the Oasis class, they've got a lot of like unique features there that really stand out. So I think either of those places, you could probably pick a number of things that go. In terms of if you want like an attraction, I mean, they've got the water slides, which is something that you won't find on, of course, the Quantum class ships, and that can be perhaps very, very intriguing to you or not. But there's, of course, the shows, the Aqua Theater. Yeah, the Aqua Theater, big one. Next question is from, let's see here. I'm not sorry, I don't know how to say your name. Hush. If all I want to do is go to Hibachi, is the specialty dining package worth it? Yes. I mean, that's still going to save you so much money because when you look at how much the dining package costs versus you booking up, 3, 4, 7 nights of Hibachi, that's a lot of rice, my friend. But not judging. Game respects game, but that is, I mean, it's still going to save you money compared to booking it individually. So let's see here. Skip over that question. Mike Sanders, is Freedom of the Seas a good choice for a cruise? Heck yeah, it is. Becky Mencken says hello to everybody in the room.
Hi.
BK Lounge 87, does Royal Caribbean ever post passenger counts for individual sailings or average passenger counts for a ship for a certain month? So they'll let you know on board the ship. Sometimes they make an announcement. Sometimes it's done, like they'll make an announcement over the PA system. Sometimes it's done in like the captain's corner or things like that. But it kind of, there's usually an opportunity. In worst case, let's say you never hear any of those things. Just go to guest services. Once you set sail, and they'll give you the number. They can almost always give you that number. But the number is always like, it's always going to be like 100% or something like that, even more. So A Swift wants to know, how exactly does my time dining work? Essentially, you either, it's like going out to a restaurant at home. You either make a reservation in advance, and then that's your dining time, or you show up and wait for the next available table. That's kind of the basics of how that works. The advantage is you get to have more flexibility in terms of the times you go to have dinner, but you might not have the same table mates, the same table assignment, or the same waiters every night of your cruise. And if you do my time, I believe your gratuities are automatically prepaid, as opposed to traditionally you have the option of having it accrue every day of your cruise. Luciano wants to know, are the Central Park view cabins quiet, or can some noise from outside bother? I mean, you'll hear some noise. I mean, it is outside, but I've generally had really good luck with it, especially at night. Unless you're going to bed at like, I don't know, 9 o'clock or something like that. All right. How about Allie? You'd like to read this one?
This one's for Jenna. Jenna's been wanting to go on Spectrum. Please send someone to do a ship tour of Spectrum. It looks fascinating with its gold class cabins. It is. Actually, Angie and I did.
Did she
Spectrum.
send this?
No, this is not even for me. Angie and I did Spectrum with our parents in 2019, and it is wildly different. It is beautiful. It's so different than any Royal Caribbean ship.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, that's a no. But thank you for the suggestion. Appreciate it. Let's see here. What's our time now? We're going to make sure. Oh my God. 10 more minutes. Next question is from Matthew Gatlin. Thank you for the super chat. Does your daily stipend with the limited dining package work at Captain Jackson Coquille? It does not. No, it does not. Where is Spectrum of the Seas? Asia. Primarily sailing out of Singapore these days. Let's see. Ooh, Joe's got an interesting question. How do you convince an anti-cruiser to take a cruise? Main concerns are getting seasick and hygiene. Great question. And the answer is, I think both those concerns are, I mean, the seasickness thing, could you get seasick on a cruise? I mean, raise your hand. I got seasick on a cruise. Has anyone else got seasick?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens, but it's very manageable. I mean, you could I just take an over-the-counter medication like Bonine, and within like, I don't know, 15 minutes, I feel much better. So it's possible for it to occur, but it's so easily manageable. It's not like you spend the rest of the cruise, vomiting and feeling awful. It's something you can easily manage. So it shouldn't stop you from that thing. As for the hygiene thing, cruise lines, I don't know. I think their hygiene is better than anywhere else I go on land in terms of people actually adhering to washing their hands and things like that. You have to remember, in a lot of cases, what you read in the media is overblown. As an example, let me give you the norovirus, right? Norovirus pre-COVID was like the big thing that happens on cruise ships. But if you look at the CDC data, like 1% of norovirus cases actually emanate on cruises. And primarily, you see them in schools, nursing homes, and prisons, I think is the number 3. So, but nobody cares but it doesn't generate news like norovirus, people getting sick on a cruise ship. So ignore those kind of things. It's just I'm gonna call it a myth, because I'm not here to tell you it doesn't exist, but the likelihood is so small that that's not a reason to stop to not cruise. Rita Thompson. Rita, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. I don't see a super chat message here, Rita, but I will keep an eye out, unless this super chat is for Jenna, and then Jenna, I owe you $1. Gina wants to know, are there many solo cruisers on your ships? No one seems to want to cruise with me, and I don't want to feel lonely, but I still have to go. There will be some solo cruisers. Occasionally you'll see an event in the cruise planner, like solo get together, something like that. I don't know how well attended it will be. I wouldn't necessarily rely on that. I think your best bet, Gina, if you are cruising solo, which by the way is a great idea, is to find a group for your sailing on like the Royal Caribbean blog message boards or on Facebook. So you get to meet people who are on your sailing before you go on the sailing and maybe make some connections beforehand. That's a pretty good idea right there. Richard wants to know, do you get a 3-course meal when you pay for chops? Is it worth $64.99? You do get a 3-course meal. Do I think it's worth $64.99? Boy, that's a lot. But you know what? If you buy a dining package, then the cost of each meal is like cut in half. And at that price, I think it is worthwhile. Or go for lunch. It's really good. Yeah, Jenna reminds me, if you go for a lunch, the menu is a little pared. You're getting 3 courses: appetizer, main course, dessert. But it is but it's like half the cost. So it's
only a couple things are missing. Yeah,
only a couple things are missing. So I would say that's a really good, if you're worried about the cost, or just get a dining package. So either one of those are really 2 very good suggestions right there. Let's see here. Next question is from D. How do I sign up for a ship tour? Through the Cruise Planner. You can purchase it before your cruise. Let's see here. Powerful female, please work your magic and bring back the WoW bands. Didn't work. Let's see here. Next question is from Pavin, who wants to know, what is a good bid for an upgrade on a balcony on Odyssey? Whatever you can afford. I mean, number one, when you look for a bid, if you want to upgrade your cabin, don't look to Royal Up first. Call your travel agent. Like, how much is it to upgrade my cabin? Because that's going to be the most straightforward, easiest way to get it. In a lot of cases, it may actually not be that much more than you may think. Otherwise, for the bidding, it's just totally blind, and luck of the draw. So bid as much as you can handle, and there you go. Let's see here. Next question. Oh, Hal has a question for us. Casino host gave us 2 free cruises up to 12 nights from Port Canaveral. Any thoughts? Take them. Yes, I would like those cruises. Yes, that's wonderful. My thoughts are maximize that. I mean, obviously it's 12 nights. I mean, if you can get the time off, make it happen. That's an awesome idea. Lori wants to know, what embarkation day options are available for lunch in Liberty? We're going to Liberty on Friday. So you know what, Lori? Ask me again this question on Monday when I'll be depressed at home after the cruise.
It was just chops.
Yeah, it's just chops. Yeah. We'll see on board if the app is always like, maybe it's right, maybe it's not, but we'll let you know next Monday. Are we doing on time? A couple more minutes, all right. Let's see here. Do I have any? Yeah, we do. All right, we've got some super chats to catch up on there. Let's catch up with those really quick, guys. Dominique, thank you for the super chat. How is Valentine's Day in Royal Caribbean anything memorable? Other than some like decorations and maybe like a lovers trivia. It's primarily the specialty restaurants, and I laugh because basically what they do is they just charge more on that particular night for dinner. So it's kind of I don't know. They jazz it up by like offering you like champagne or something like that. But other than like a special menu or a special upgrade, whatever you want to call it, in the specialty restaurants, not really. I mean, that's all you can really do, some decorations and whatnot beyond that. Parker wants to know, we bought the Mason Jar brunch. What is included? A lot of food. Great food. Yeah, lots of good food for the Mason Jar. I mean, it's obviously brunch, so it's some breakfast items, some lunch items. It's a meal, but it's you know, I'm basically explaining what brunch is, but essentially brunch. Rose wants to know, how do you get into the shows if everything is booked? It's a great question. And the answer is, just because they're booked doesn't mean you can't get into the shows. In almost every single case, if you get to the theater 15 minutes or so before the showtime, there's a standby line. There's a lot of no-shows. A lot of people who book those reservations book them up, you know, weeks and months in advance, and then don't feel like going to the show because they're having a fun time at the pool or whatever, went to bed. Anyway, the bottom line is there will be opportunities for you to still get in there. So keep checking back to see if there's any reservations. But if worst case scenario, you can't get anything, just look for the standby line. If you get there like 15 minutes early before showtime, you're going to get into the theater. So, all right. Angela, thank you for the super chat. My fiance and I are cruising on Liberty in March. So excited about my first cruise. What time does the online check-in open when it's available? 45 days before your cruise. Have an awesome time on Liberty. We'll be there on Friday. Can't wait. And best excursion in Port Canaveral, not Kennedy Space Center. Yeah, the beach, Cocoa Beach. I'd probably say that'd be one option. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to give you three options. Cocoa Beach, going to Orlando, and maybe going to the premium outlets if you're into shopping. That could be something that's non-beach related that you can go and enjoy. And option number three would be they do airboat rides. Not quite like I think as good as maybe in South Florida, but it is a Florida thing to do and not the Kennedy Space Center and not a beach. So that could be something kind of fun to do as well. Let's see here. Next question. Man, we have so many in here. Wow, we have 1,021 in chat now. That is awesome. Dalfred, thank you for the super chat. What's the best thing on Adventure of the Seas? I like Izumi on the Royal Promenade. It's the only ship that has that there. It's kind of a neat location. Of course, you've got the helipad on the front of the ship people to enjoy sail away from. And they've got some cool water slides. So one of those three, I think, should hopefully make it worthwhile for you. JJP240, thank you for the super chat. We just got off Liberty. Do Tidal Wave only one? Yes, it's the only ship in the fleet that's Tidal Wave. So the Tidal Wave's water slide is a slide which you get on a raft and you go down and you go up a near vertical wall and have a moment of weightlessness and then come sliding back down. If you've been on Coco Key at the water park, it's like the slingshot basically, but it's the only ship in the fleet that has it. So I've got no choice, but in the name of research, we should do that actually on the first day of the cruise.
Absolutely. It's really
yeah, so I'm going to pack my bathing suit. I'm going to finally listen to my own advice, pack my bathing suit in my carry-on bag. So Dominique says, thank you so much. Super excited and nervous about my first cruise. Don't be nervous. Be super excited. The only thing you should be nervous about is how many cruises you're going to book after that cruise because you're going to want to book more. It's awesome. Next question is, I can answer this question, Bill. Boy, good timing on this one. Going on Liberty in June with 14 people. What's the largest main dining room table we can get? 10. We have a table of 10 and then a table of 6 for everybody else. So, yeah, that's the answer. I'm pretty sure the answer. David, thank you for the super chat. I don't see David Christie. I don't see the message from you, David, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, here it is. Found it. 61 days until Lure. How much before the cruise can I expect to see the show reservations on the app? I think it's about 30 days for the Oasis class. So just keep an eye. Once you get close within like under 40, I just keep checking every day just to make sure you can hop on there once it's available. Mike wants to know, with the new main dining room menu, are they still going to have the secret Indian menu? No, because they don't need to. It's already part of the menu. They've reintegrated. It's no longer a secret. It's just part of the menu. So wish granted. It's already part of it. Next question is from Ariana, who wants to know, when would you find out that your excursion was canceled due to lack of interest? And the answer is, it depends. I mean, it could happen weeks before your cruise, months, or like a couple days, even during your cruise, quite frankly, which is unnerving. I understand that. But it could happen at any point. There isn't a drop dead date. Like, okay, if you get past this many days before your cruise, your excursion is definitely going to happen. It kind of depends right there. And all right, we've got time for one more question here, and then we will call it a night. It's from Kelly. This is a good. I like this one. A little timely one. Heard that Norwegian's going back to the older traditional way to muster. Do you think Royal Caribbean will do the same? I hope not as well. I'm telling you this right now. There is no people. If the concern is people aren't paying attention as well with the digital muster drill, I guarantee you they're not paying attention to the old one. The old one, once you're more than 2 people deep in the line, it just people are staring at the ceiling. They're looking at their phone because they're not supposed to, but nobody can see what they're doing down there. They're talking to their friends. It's disruptive. I don't think it really achieves what they're looking to do. And I think that it's just I hope it's a knee-jerk reaction from Norwegian to reconsider it. And I certainly hope Royal Caribbean never, ever does it. I know that Carnival goes back to that. I know Carnival just said like a week or 2 ago, John Heald, who's their chief ambassador, said they had no plans to go back to the old one. So, unfortunately, Norwegian didn't provide any context to it. So it's like, okay. But I certainly hope that's not the case. So. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you guys so much. And big shout out to all of our super chatters today and our staff. Woo! We'll be on Liberty of the Seas on Friday. So, we'll have hopefully a good time with everybody there. Shout out to Patty, who's in the chat. 7 appetizers all around. Have a great week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun. And we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.